Hi, my name is Marissa Van Arsdale, and I'm going to teach you guys how to make a homemade soy candle, as I'm sure you guys are sick of paying for those expensive candles at Yankee Candle and Bath & Body Works. There are many tools that you will need. First of all, you're going to need mason jars. You can choose one or two depending on the size, or really anything to hold your candle. It's up to you. I just like the look of mason jars. This is optional, but you can use a color. I chose blue because the fragrance oil I also chose, which is also optional, is clean linen, and that just went together. You're going to need something to stir your candle. This can be really anything you want to stir it, but preferably not metal because you'll probably burn yourself. A tube clamp, but this will just center your wick once you pour it. A candy thermometer to measure your temperature. Pre-tabbed candle wicks. Glue dots. 1 pound of all natural soy wax. A scale. This is just to measure how much color and how much fragrance oil you're putting in. And then this is optional. It's a pour pot. You can use like a pan and another pan. I just use a pan from my pantry, and then I used a pour pot, which I ordered online. The first step in making your candle is to measure out 1 pound of soy wax. It can be a little bit over, it could be a little bit under, but just make sure you're not too far off, like an ounce or two. The first thing you're going to do is place it on your scale and make sure you zero it out so you're just measuring your soy wax and not both your pan and your soy wax. So I'm about 1 pound, 1 ounce, which is okay because whether it's over or under 1 ounce is not going to make a difference, because sometimes when you do it, it makes a pop like hole dent. So you can just fix that once it cools off a little bit. Then you're going to measure a little bit of water in a pan. I've already done this, but it's just enough to barely touch the bottom of the pot that you're placing into it. Then the next step is to turn your stove on about 4. It can be like medium if you don't have numbers on yours, but I like about 4 because it's not cooling it too fast or heating it too fast. If you heat it too fast or cool it too fast, it'll make your candle not mix right. So as soon as you turn your stove on, you place your pan into your pour pot into the pan you already have water in. Just again, make sure that your water is not touching it. I'll show you, mine's barely touching the pot. Then you need to wait until your wax gets to about 185 to 190 degrees. So the next step you can do either while you're waiting for your wax to cool or while you're waiting for it to heat. I prefer to do it when I'm waiting for it to heat so I can keep myself busy. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to center the wick with the glue dot, and you're going to put it in the middle so that the wick is evenly in the middle. Obviously, it'd be weird if a wick was way over here, just looking at typical candles. So with our one pre-tabbed wick, you're going to take one of your glue dots. They're very sticky, so you have to be careful to not let them stick to you, which is annoying. Typically, most mason jars, you're not going to be able to fit your whole hand in there, so you're kind of just going to hope that it goes down. So the middle of the mason jars usually have a little number. Mine do not, but typically they do. So you're going to try to get it as best as you can in the middle. And then really anything you have that's long enough, I always use a spoon because I can put most pressure on it. You just want to push down the edge of the wick. So if you can see what I'm doing from the bottom, I'm pushing on the edges of the wick just to secure its spot. This is really crucial because if you don't push it all the way down while your candle is deheating, it will raise up your wick and then you won't have anything to burn your candle with. Again, I'm just making sure both of these are completely pushed down. And that would be what your candle is going to look like, but you have to wait for your wax to heat up and actually cool down. So this is what it's going to look like once you have your pour pot in your water. It's just going to be very slowly melting, but you just want to make sure you're slowly, like every once in like 5 minutes, touching the bottom of the pot. The pour pot, just to make sure that you're not burning. You should not burn since you have a double boiler going on here. But you just want to stir it frequently, making sure that it's not sticking to the pan. So as it begins to heat up, you can see the steam going rapidly. You are going to make sure that you are stirring. It's actually getting thicker, so it's getting harder to stir. You can't really see it, but the bottom of it is melting. So you just want to make sure you're stirring it. And then once it gets to this point, you want to make sure you add in your thermometer so you can see what the temperature of your wax is at. So this is about 11 minutes in. You can see that the wax is really starting to melt now. My thermometer is actually not going to touch the bottom of my wax yet because my pour pot is too long. But once it gets there, be careful because you can burn yourself at the top. It's not too hot yet because it's plastic. But just put it in gently just to check the temperature of your wax. You want to keep doing this frequently once it's all melted, just to make sure and ensure that you are not going over your 190 degree mark. At about 20 minutes in, you can see that there's very little chunks. There's about 2. We're approaching 150 degrees, so we're almost around 185 and 190 degree mark. This is also touching the bottom, so I'm going to have to make sure to pick it up once it's done. It's just a little bit hot because my thermometer is not long enough. After 25 minutes, it's finally reached almost 190 degrees. I like it getting 190 so that you have time to let it cool while you're preparing your color and you're preparing your fragrance oils. So after about 25 minutes to 30, my wax has finally reached the 195 degree mark. So the first thing you're going to do is turn off your stove so that you're not burning yourself, and immediately move it off of the heat so that it stops getting more heat. After this, you're going to take out your pan. It can be very hot, so you want to be careful. I kind of set it up a little bit weird, so it's going to be a little bit hotter than it should be. So you want to take out your pan that was in the water, and you want to set it to the side. Before you pour anything in here, you want to make sure it's at 185 degrees. If it's anything more, it will not mix correctly, and you won't really have much of a fragrance. You'll have more of a color, which is going to be your oil-based color, and you'll just have wasted fragrance oil, which is actually kind of expensive. It's about, for one of these little bottles, it's about $6. So it actually cools very fast, so I'm about almost to 185. I only let it get to about 190, however. So I'm just going to pour till it tells me I'm at 1 ounce. Usually it's probably going to be like almost the whole bottle. You want to mix it 100% all the way through. If you don't, then you're going to smell your candle sometimes and not. You just really want to make sure you mix it very well so that you're creating a good mixture of smell. You can probably already smell it once you're mixing it. And then the next thing you want to do is add color. This is optional along with the fragrance. It's really up to you. I'm just sure many people do not want to have a non-fragrance candle. The more drops of color you add, the darker it'll be. Before you pour your wax into your candles, you want it to be at 95 to 100 degrees. If you don't make it this temperature, then it'll create a frosting on the top, which will look like a white little like top line of your candle. At this stage, many people will wait for it to cool and they'll prepare their mason jars with their pre-tabbed wicks and making sure they're centered. However, we already have done that. So besides temperature, if something were to happen to your thermometer, you can wait until it's cloudy. So my thermometer is finally reading 90 degrees. 95 to 100 is the best, but I waited too long, so be careful to do that. Now you're just going to simply pour into your mason jars. As you can see, it's dark blue, but not too dark. So I only have a little bit left over, so this is going to make like about a half candle, if not even that. So I'm going to pour this as well into this one. Just made the half of the candle. This is when it comes into handy. You can use like a bigger candle, or you can use a small 4-ounce candle. As soon as you do this, you want to add the chip clips. I've already tried it with this one. It's okay if you get this bend-like mark after you take it off, because you're going to be trimming your wicks after they are steady. But this is when, if you didn't center it all the way, you can really redeem yourself as far as centering the wicks. If while cooling you notice a pothole-like dent, so it goes in a little bit, you can add a little bit more wax, heating it up. So this is where this wax can come to handy. You can heat this, or you can just let it be. A lot of candles do, even if you buy them, have that little indent. It's just the way that the wax is poured and the way it was cool. Before burning your candle, you want to wait 24 to 48 hours. This just ensures that it will last the longest. Soy wax is actually one of the waxes that lasts the longer amount, so it's gonna be a longer burning candle and it'll last longer. About 2 hours later, that's how the candles are looking. As you can see, they have become a little bit hardened. They're still a little bit warm, but as they're hardening, they're becoming a lot lighter in color. This one's also like that. So it has been over 24 hours, about 30 seconds since I have prepared these candles. The next step you're going to do is take off the chip clip on both of them. You're going to need scissors or a knife. Scissors are probably better for this. You're going to trim your wax. So whatever you think is good, just cut it. I do it a little bit later because we have our lids. So with our lids, you can still put a lid on the candle, which would be a mason jar top. Do the same thing with the other one. Even though this is a half candle, I will still probably burn it. That one I made a little bit later. And you can see that the lids fit on both of them. I will show you that they actually both do light. It's lit. And this is how you make a soy candle out of soy candle wax. This could be good for any time you forget to buy your girlfriend or boyfriend a gift. Probably not boyfriend, most likely girlfriend. But this will be good for a gift for mom, girlfriend, sister, anyone of your choice. It's really cool to do because I would have never thought I could make a candle. I just would never think that. And candles can be pricey, so once you have all the stuff for it, really all that you have to pay for is the wax and the fragrance oil. The wax is about like $15 and the oil is about $5, which you can reuse it if you need to. So it's like $20 when some candles could be way more. And I think it's really cool. You can get as much wax as you want. You can get them up into like 10-pound bundles. So I just think it's really cool. It's fun to do, and it's cool to look at what you have. So I hope you enjoyed. Hi, my name is Marissa, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a homemade...
Marissa, take the garbage out!
But this just ensures that it's not going to go very far. Oh my god, my hand doesn't fit.